as I was saying before the fucking battery died, some cars, some governors had 2 contact points, and some open at the same time that the other ones close. So I'm not completely sure what those are for. They are exceptions, they are rare. But you know, if you do happen, I did see some of them. I believe I did see one of them, actually. So if you get one of those, you know, you'll see 2 terminals here instead of 1, 2 little posts instead of 1. So just watch out for that. You're wiring up the opposite. Have the overdrive on below like that velocity, and then when it reaches 28, it'll turn off in direct drive. That's silly, right? You need that extra gear when you need in higher speeds, right? So now it does say that on all overdrives, the actual speed has to be at 28 miles per hour. Because I mean, if you have a car idling at 1,000 RPMs, it's not going to have twice the speed at first gear, for example. Both cars, take a little car and a big car, both of them are going to, have pretty much the same speed in first gear, regardless of the engine RPMs. So, because bigger engines, they just have more torque, okay? Not that they're faster, they just got more torque, more strength. Okay, that's what big engines are. What defines the speed is the transmission. A little car with an overdrive is going to go a lot faster than a big, let's say, Mustang with a 3-speed, for example, because you have that extra gear. So, because the Mustang has higher torque, it will have an initial advantage. Okay, for example, let's take a Mustang with a 3-speed versus a my Rambler American with an overdrive. Okay, that Mustang, it's gonna have, it's gonna be able to go like from first, second, third in just a few seconds, where my Rambler is gonna take a long time. But once I'm there, I catch up with it, and I'm able to go faster. So, the Mustang is going to be in the highway, and it's going to be like, Vah! It's going to be in third gear. That huge engine is just, turning and turning, but it doesn't have that extra gear. It's going to stay behind. My Rambler American is going to beat that Mustang. Okay. So it's all down to the gears. Basically, if a big, strong person pedaling a bicycle in first gear against a weaker person pedaling the bicycle in fifth gear, right, on the same plane, right, even plane. Doesn't matter the strength, what matters is the gear as well. So I'm thinking that here, it's relative to the different RPMs of the engines. But anyways, like I said, they are all pretty much close, The TG, I'll just say the last numbers, it's easier. All of them are TGE 40s, okay? I'll just say the last numbers then. So 01, 08, 09, and 011, there's only actually a difference between like 5 or 10 RPMs between them. So, for example, TG 4001 is closes at 632 RPMs. Whereas TG 4011 closes at 631. I mean, is one rotation going to make a difference? Obviously not, right, guys? Now, if you take, like, for example, the only one that's really different is the TG 4007. 1,055 RPMs versus 575, for example. That's a huge difference, okay? That's a really huge difference. So just keep that in mind, So for example, they're all pretty close, 632 to 840. Yeah, that's 200 RPMs different. That's a little big. 632 to 740. That's about 100 RPMs. That's not a lot. 632 to 531. It's 100 RPMs. It's not that much either. Okay, safe, comfortable. For in my case, the idle is at 500. So ideally, I want to keep the speed of the engine at that speed. You know, obviously it'll go to like 3,000 RPMs. That really strains the engine. It's like, bah! You don't want that. You want a nice, quiet engine. Okay. Some cars will have a smooth sounding engine, but at a higher RPMs, right? So it's a little difficult to compare. But so you will have to find the RPMs that's suitable for your application. And the way to do that is you can look up here on the overdrive controls. They give you the list. It says the list here on the models and the years. So for example, mine is the there's two Ramblers. It says Rambler 1959 to 60, Series 80. That's not mine. Mine is 1963. That's the other one. Rambler excluding 1969 to 60 Series 80. So basically all the other Ramblers except the 59 to 60 Series 80. So below is the exclusions, above the exclusions. So that's one's mine, which is AL TGE 40 1A. I don't know what the H stands for, but the TGE 40 01, like I said, it's down here. You look at it down here, the governor specifications, contacts close at 632, and they open at 463. The one that I bought here is the 4005. It's closed at 740. So, and it opens at 535. So basically there is a 740 minus 632. There's a 112 RPM difference. This one opens at 112 RPMs higher. So, you know, does 112 RPMs make a difference? Not really, okay? It doesn't. You probably won't even be able to tell, okay? No, when I tune the engine, it can actually be like 50 RPMs higher, a little bit faster. So that it's actually only 50 RPMs difference, right? 150, sorry. So it's probably, I'm almost certain that it doesn't matter. Obviously, we'll only be sure once we actually have this in the car. But I'm pretty certain that that's not much of a difference. But ideally, I'd get the one that's closest to it. So ideally, I would have gotten the TG 4011, which is only 1 RPM difference. Okay, but I mean, the higher RPMs maybe. I'm not sure how that influences the transmissions. That's what I'm trying to understand here. I think it's the differences in the flywheel. You know, you can have one car idling at 2,000 RPMs, but like I said, they're going to travel at the same speed in first gear. Obviously, if the RPMs was transmitted, the higher RPMs were transmitted to the first gear, to the gears, then what you would have is, you know, car A would have lower RPMs, would have a lower speed at all gears than the other car at RPMs B with the higher RPMs. So what I'm thinking is, you know, Mustangs and, you know, higher RPM cars, they just have bigger flywheels. That's just bigger flywheels. It's just more torque. And the engine is turning, you know, along more space. But at the center is where all the transmissions are connected. Okay, so you know you can have thousands of RPMs, but at the center, all the speeds are the same. Okay, and obviously the center, if you understand what I'm trying to say here, is difference they'll be connected, different shafts and different clutch plates as well. That all matters, okay? But I think this should not be a problem, but ideally, you know, sure, not, shouldn't matter at all. But I mean, if you want to get the one that's really close, you look up your car, and you can look up. So what I'm saying is, my main point here is that there are more than one governors that you can use, right? Like I said, the TGE, the 4001 and the 4011 are perfect examples for that. Well, there's only 1 RPM difference when the contact point's closed, but when the contact point's open, there's a little bit more difference. For 4001, the contact point's open at 463, whereas for the 4011, they open at 477. Again, that's just, you know, 14. That's just a 7 RPM difference there. That's negligible, okay? Fuck, no, I was right. 14, sorry. I was right. Yeah, I'm looking at 14 RPMs. You can't tell, okay? So they are interchangeable. Same for like the 731, 740, which is the 4005, and the 4012 and the 4019. You know, you can't tell the difference. The same. This, you know, TG 4008, 4009 with the 4001 and the 4011 that I mentioned. You know, it's 625. It's only a 6 RPM difference. You know, you really can't tell. That's really, really small. You can probably start telling the difference at like 100 RPMs, okay? And you know, you can tune the car a little faster. If you want a little more torque, you know, you just turn the idle up a little bit more. Okay, so it's turning a little bit faster. Or you want it to warm up a little bit faster in winter. You know, the manual actually recommends leaving a little bit faster in winter. Okay, but so like I said, you know, 50, 100, it's not a lot at all. It's not a lot of difference at all. 500 RPMs, that's, you know, that's double the acceleration of my Rambo, for example. 1055, that's over double. Okay, so that really is, you know, unusable. I really can't use that one. But all of the other ones, they are pretty close to a 500. The excluding the TG 4007, which is completely different than all the other ones. The most different one, the highest RPM ones that I have, is the 840. So, you know, I could exclude those two as well, which is a 200 RPM difference. So, you know, like I said, it's not that much. If I exclude those two, the highest is 740, which is the one that I have now. Which, like I said, it's just 100 RPM difference. That's really not that much at all. I probably said it fucking 100 times already. It's just because I'm fucking tired, guys. And okay, so I think we're done with that. At least you know, at least this way nobody asks questions on the comments section. You know, I did like a 1-hour video on explanation video on something. I can't remember which one. But the guy is like, well, he's asking questions, and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I put this in the video. And I just told him, just watch the video. And they're like, oh yeah, it's in the video. Wow. Yeah, you know, it is in the video. You know, this way I just ensure that everybody's questions are answered, okay? I don't think you could possibly have any questions for me. So the other ones, the other section, it's tells you how to test The solenoid tells you how to test the governor. The governor is really easy to test. You don't get to have to test. You can just use your eyes. So for the overdrive solenoid, they give the solenoid part numbers. Let's see the part numbers that I have here. The one on the other transmission says, and by the way, you can also identify the car that the transmission and the solenoid came from. Well, the solenoid, right? Because the thing is, they might have been changed. And the solenoid at some point might have been replaced by a different model one. Okay, so highly unlikely, but I mean it could be possible. So, for example, this one here that I'm holding, it's a 111-8132. That's part number I have here, Delco Remy, and it's not listed. Let me just make sure that I looked at this before. And 8132, 8155, 8168, 8164. Yeah, you see, it's not listed here. Okay, and by the way, this is all cars. It says all the cars here are between 1954 and 1960. So this solenoid was probably from a different, it's probably a newer solenoid. This part number is not here, and it is 12 volts, by the way. How do I know? Because I connected to 6 volts and nothing happened. 6 volt was too weak to get the solenoid to move. Connected to the 12 volt battery charger, boom, just like that, goes in and out. So that's how I found out. You can find out if your solenoid is 6 or 12 volt. If it works in 6 volt, then it's 6 volt. If it doesn't work in 6 volt and works in 12 volt, then it's 12 volt. Obviously, you start with the lower voltage, right? Because if you put 6 volts in a 12 volt one, that doesn't do anything, doesn't damage it at all. But if you put 12 volts through a 6 volt, light bulb or whatever, 6 volt solenoid, you could damage it. I've heard of people using 12 volt 6 volt starters, 12 volt battery. Apparently it works. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it. I mean, it will work, but I just imagine it will burn it. But I guess because it's so short, it's so short. It's not enough to burn the starter. But I mean, if you held it on for too long, then you would certainly burn it. Obviously, because it's just really quick, just a second or two or so. Then you can use 12 volt on the starter. So, yeah, I'm just going off topic here. At least you're getting lots of information here. Lots of useful information. Something that I had to search and research and fucking research again to get it. Now I'm sharing it with you guys for free, huh? See, I look mean and tough, but I'm pretty nice. Ain't I? Okay, so moving on. Yeah, it doesn't list the part number for here. And that transmission that I bought, I did say that it was from a 63 Studebaker. I think it was that, but it's not listed here. So I'm just looking over here, and I made a mistake. It says here from the Rambler, it says 1959 to 60, Series 80, and then the other option is Rambler, excluding 1969 to 60 Series 80. Okay, but which Rambler? The Rambler American, Rambler AMX, which year of the Rambler American? The Rambler 220, Rambler 440, Rambler 330, which one? Were they all the same? I guess they maybe perhaps do it relative to the engine. I'm not sure. This may or not be mine. I imagine it should be. I imagine this one should be correct because the engine idles at 500 RPM. So, you know, when I'm moving around, you know, I'm either it'll go smoothly up to maybe, let's say, 1,000 RPMs. So that should be more than enough to activate the solenoid. But like I say, the engine is at 500 RPMs. The first gear is not at 500 RPMs. The output is, you know, 1/3 of that, which is probably like 200. So yeah, that's probably the thing is, you know, first gear, since it's 1 to 3 radio. Now if the engine is turned, let's say it's turning at 600 RPMs, a third of that would be 200 RPMs output. The first gear, second gear, it's like 1 to, let's say, 2.5. So if it's, we have a 600 output, then we have like a 300. Sorry, if we have 600 RPMs input, we probably have like a 300 RPMs output. 300, 250. If we have let's say we have 600 RPMs in first gear, in third gear, then we have the same, let's say 500 RPMs in third gear. It's 1-to-1 radio, we have the same outputs, which is also 500. You know, in order to change gears, we want to be a little higher, so 700 RPMs should be pretty reasonable to activate that, activate the overdrive, right? Once again, there's a huge difference between, like I said, there's a huge, the explanation here, there's a huge difference between the overdrive and the freewheeling stage. The governor just controls, basically, when you lock, it just locks, that's all it does. It just activates the overdrive. It doesn't activate, doesn't do nothing, activates, or there's no way to turn on and off the clutch rollers unless you push, unless you pull the cable out and you actually, you know, mechanically put the sun gear inside the pin and cage, right? As I said, so the governor, it's just the RPMs that it's going to turn the overdrive on. 740 is pretty comfortable to me. Remember, it's just to turn it on, so it's not like it's going to stay at that RPMs anyway. After it's on, get into higher gear, and then you can have, like I said, when you're driving, you're not idling, okay? You're always pressing the accelerator, you know, halfway or a little bit. You know, it's never at idling. It's never idling unless you're stopped or you're cruising on the highway, which is what the overdrive is for. So 740 RPMs, once again, that should be more than enough. It should certainly work for what I'm going to use for my Rounder American. Like I said, this is not going to be the same for you. May or may not be the same for you. I said that like 100 times for my fucking. I really got to finish this video. Fucking damn it. So like I said, the way you can also, as I was initially saying before I moved off topic again, you could theoretically identify the transmission from the car from which it came from through the, I mean, you can also use some of the part numbers stamped on here perhaps, but this here is just perfect, right? Unfortunately, that solenoid is not listed on here. Let's just hope that the other one is on here so that I can demonstrate it to you. I'm not sure. It says it is also Delco Remy. Part numbers of 111. All of them are 111 apparently. Yeah, pretty much all of them. All of the DR, all of the Delco Remy start with 111. So, by the way, so 9985 from the other four numbers. 9985. Let's see. Let's fucking see. 9985, right? Wow. I'm starting to get tired. It's not 6, yeah, 9985. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not listed here. So it's probably from another year. It's probably newer because, it's cars from the 50s are hard and hard to get. So I'd say it's, like I said, the Overdrive, Borg 1 Overdrive, was manufactured, was first made in the 1930s, okay? And they stopped production. Apparently the last car to ever use a Borg 1 Overdrive was a Ford in 1967, I think. So, it's over 30 years, 40 or so years of transmission. So certainly not all of them are listed here. This is also just for the Overdrive. I'm not talking about the transmission itself in 96. Once again, the Overdrive part fit into various different transmissions. Automatic transmissions of different manufacturers. So I'm not referring to the manual, to the actual manual, Overdrive. The manual transmission, the T96. For example, the R10 Overdrive will fit the T85. It will fit the T86. Okay, so yeah, there you have it. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not listed here. Let's see what it says for control relay. And by the way, the Bendix, there's not a single Bendix solenoid used on here. So I'm thinking that after after a certain year, they either, switched to start using the Bendix, or they stopped using the Bendix governors. All of the governors here are, 90% of them are Autolite. Out of the, for example, let's see, there's 20 cars listed on here. Out of those 20, just 4 of them aren't Autolite. So 16 of them are Autolite. One of the other ones is Chevy. The other one is Ford and Mercury. And there's 2 Hudsons. Okay. But so, like I said, the great majority of them of Overdrive solenoids and governors, are either made by Autolite and Delco Ring. Sorry. More specifically, apparently Autolite made all of the governors, and Delco Remy made all of the solenoids. Alright, there's not a single Autolite solenoid listed on here. Maybe they just didn't make them at all. As for the control relays, there's lots of different ones. 4 Delco Remys, 4 Autolites, 4 Fords, 3 Hudsons, 2 Mercurys, 2 Nashes, 2 Packages, 3 Studebakers, and 2 Jeeps Willys. Okay, so like I said, I really hope, I really wish I had the rest of this. I just found this page somebody had it here. So unfortunately, none of the governor or the solenoid numbers matched. Only these here. Not able to identify the car it came from this. So this is unfortunate because I was curious, but I mean, it's not a big deal. Now, as for the last part of this video. Here's one of the solenoids that I bought. The original one. See, it's all original. It's Autolite. It's part number HR 4201